It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood from coast to coast and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Don Miguel Ruiz, who is here to talk about 4 principles that offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives and create love and happiness. Don Miguel is the international best-selling author of a series of books including The 4 Agreements, which has spent more than 7 years on the New York Times bestseller list. Welcome, Don Miguel. It is such a pleasure to have you join us today.
Well, the pleasure is for me, really. I'm very excited to have this talk with you.
Well, thank you so much again for being here. Don Miguel, you write about 4 agreements that have the power to transform our life. And these agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Why do you call these agreements, and with whom are these agreements being made?
Well, these agreements, you made it with yourself, because that way what you are doing is changing the way that you believe you are. Because in certain point, you will find out that you are not what you pretend to be all your life. And when you take these 4 agreements, it challenges all the agreements that you did to make you be, to live the life that you're living right now. Then with these simple 4 agreements, they have the power to transform you, to change the way you create the story and the one you live. Because many people don't even know that they're living in a story that they create, their own creation. And that story is made by agreements. We agree with all the people, with the opinions that they have about us. When we agree with them, then we accept those opinions, and we try to please everybody around us. We create an image of ourselves, and it's the one who's living our life, really. Because at a certain point, we kind of forget what we really are. We forget our authenticity, and we try to shift in every relationship that we have. It could be with friends, with the parents, at school, at the work, with a husband, with children, with friends. Everything is shifting, is changing, but we don't have the awareness that all that is made by agreements. In fact, every single word that we use is just a result of an agreement, because we give the meaning to every word, to every sentence. Because when we was born, we didn't have knowledge. We didn't know anything. And we learn everything that we know. And the way that we learn is by agree with every sound, with every word, with every attitude. We agree with the entire world who surrounds us, and we make it inside of our own mind, and this is where we live in this creation. Because we are the artists who create the dream or the story and the one we live. Once that we have that awareness, we find out that in that story, we populate it with lots of secondary characters, but we only have one main character, which is what we believe we are. And we find out that the whole story is about you, the one who created. And depending the interaction that you have with everybody around you is how you're going to live your life. That's why when you're impeccable with the word, when you don't use the word against yourself, what you create is a great story. You create your own personal paradise, your own heaven. When you don't take anything personally, it's because you have the awareness that every single secondary character in your story is what you believe they are because you really don't know them. And then you understand that they create also a story and they live in their own story and you are only a secondary character in their story. Then when we have that awareness, how can we take anything personal when we know that there are only secondary characters in their story and they really don't know us? They only know what they believe about us. But if we use the truth, we find out that nobody really knows us and we don't know anybody else. Then when we don't take things personal, then that gives us immunity with the interaction that we have with everyone.
Don Miguel, you started going through some of your agreements, and I'd like to just back up for a little bit and go into each one in just a little bit more detail. You spoke about being impeccable with your word, and that is the first agreement. Why is this so important, and what does it mean to be impeccable?
Well, the word impeccability means without sin, and it's nothing really religious, but a sin is everything that you do against yourself. And even when you talk about other people, those opinions will go back to you. Then you break a lot of relationship, you close many doors by talking against people, and you don't even notice that you are using it against yourself. Then when we are impeccable with the word, we create our own heaven. Otherwise, when we are not impeccable, we create all those dramas, all those conflicts, and we create our personal hell. Then if we want to live a great life, we really need to be impeccable with the word, especially when you use it with yourself.
And not only the spoken word, our thoughts, those are words as well that can harm us, can't they?
Yes, and this is when I say don't make assumptions, because everything happens in your own mind, and you hear the voice of knowledge, because it's your knowledge who is speaking all the time in your head, and you are the one who's listening. In reality, you are both. Then when you listen the voice of knowledge, you are making all those assumptions that when the truth arrives, you will find out that the majority of those assumptions, it was not true at all. When we refrain to make assumptions, we always ask for clarity. We want to understand what they really mean instead of make the assumption that this is what they mean. It's extremely important not to make assumptions because in that way, give you immunity with the interaction that you have with yourself, especially when we talk all those lies against ourselves. Like, look at me, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm ugly, we gossip about ourselves, and we believe it even that we know that it's just lies. The truth really set us free.
So be impeccable with your word. Then the next one you touched upon briefly, but it's don't take anything personally. And this one was written for me. I mean, I tend to take so many things personally. Why do you believe so many of us do this? Why are we trapped in this personal importance?
Well, because this is the way we learn. Like I said before, when we were born, we have no knowledge. In the interaction with our family, at school, they download all that information into our mind, and we believe that. And what we see is that everybody takes everything personally. We learn to love the way they do. And the way they love is really not love, but the opposite of love, because it's conditional. And we learn to love with conditions. I love you if you let me control you. And that's the way we learn to love ourselves. I love myself if I'm good enough. If I'm not a loser, if I'm beautiful. I love myself if I become what I believe I should be. And that gives us so many false hopes. And we follow those hopes. And when we find reality, we don't like ourselves. And when we don't like ourselves, we try to numb ourselves. And this is why we become addicted to suffering, to alcohol, to drugs, to overeating, etc., because we don't like ourselves. And this is because we take it so personal. We really believe that we are what we believe we are. But it's absolutely not true.
One of the most powerful things that I've ever read was what you wrote. Nothing other people do is because of you. Nothing other people do is because of you. If you can remember that, that is so powerful and freeing.
And when you understand that, you get rid of all the guilt and all the shame. because you make the assumption that they really know you, but they don't know you. They only know what they believe about you, and they only reflect in themselves. Like you say, nobody do anything because of you. But we believe that, we agree with that, and then we can live in shame, we can live in guilt. And this is so hard for us. Can you imagine living your life with shame and with guilt when really people doesn't care or hardly anybody care? Only care when that affects them.
And so, Don Miguel, this leads us to the third agreement, which you spoke about briefly, don't make assumptions. And when we make assumptions, we misunderstand, we take it personally, we create drama. That's the cycle. And you've written that all the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. As I said, this is something that I'm guilty of doing. So you're talking about the importance of not making assumptions, but can you offer any strategies to help someone get started on that journey?
Well, the strategy is easy. It is to be skeptical. Don't believe your life. Don't believe anybody else's life, but listen what they say. Don't believe your own life. You make all those assumptions that you're not good enough, that you're not intelligent enough, that you're not worth it, that nobody cares about you, that nobody loves you, etc., etc. Like I say a little before, they do all of that because they learn to love with conditions. And that's what we learn also. We love ourselves with conditions. Then with all those assumptions, we have to be in a certain way, or either we do it or we don't accept ourselves. If we feel shame of ourselves, we feel guilty, etc., etc. Then when we don't believe ourselves, we're very skeptical about our own opinions, then we free ourselves from all the guilt, from all that shame, because what we say really is not true. The truth is so simple, and that leads us really to the real love, which is unconditional. Then that unconditional love is based on gratitude and generosity. This is what leads you to that unconditional love. When you love yourself with no conditions, you're so grateful from your own love, and you're so generous that you're sharing it wherever you go. But then you rise in love. When you take everything personally, when you make assumptions, when you are not impeccable with your work, it's because you are loving with conditions, and then you fall into that love. And that kind of love only hurts you because you feel the guilt, you feel the shame, etc., etc. It's a whole cycle. And that can reverse when you act with generosity and when you act with gratitude.
So, Don Miguel, everything seems to go back and originate with loving yourself. If you love yourself, if you feel good about yourself, if you're impeccable with your words about yourself, that will then radiate out to others.
Yes, when you are impeccable with the word, you really love yourself just the way you are, unconditionally. You accept yourself, and not just because what you are, but because that really guides you into joy, into happiness, into pleasure, into the best things in your life.
And Don Miguel, your fourth agreement is always do your best. And that sounds like a no-brainer. But how do we know if we're truly doing our best? How can that be measured?
Well, you really don't know. You just do it. And this is what makes the difference in your life. You know, we can have millions of ideas. Everything is in our mind. It can be so brilliant that if we don't take the action, we don't manifest those ideas. Then when we do our best, we are manifesting those ideas. And this is how we create all the civilizations that exist on the planet Earth. That's why the Egyptians became what they were, Sumerians, the Greeks, the Romans, our society. You know, everything that is around you, what you're wearing, everything really exists first in the human mind, and with the action, we manifest it. We have the power to transform nature and to create. And what we create is amazing. You know, we create all those computers, we create planes, we create cars. You know, it's amazing everything that we create. And this is because we humans, we always do our best, but we are not aware of that. And when we have the awareness and we don't procrastinate anymore, then we will see how our life will change completely. when I say to the people, please help me to change the world, I'm not talking about humanity. I'm talking the world that we create in our own head, the world that only we can change. I only can change my own world. And if I want to change my world, I will not try to change everybody around me. I will not try to change the secondary character. The only way to change my world is by change the main character, which is what I believe I am. When I change myself, just like magic, everything around me change. And this is exactly what I'm doing right now with this program of the Agreements for Life, to help everybody to change the main character of their story, that they really can change their life. Because if you can imagine, if you change your own world, then very fast, the people around you will start changing. And will be a ripple that go the entire humanity. But you only have to work in yourself. You don't have to work in anybody else. You only need to change your own world, and nobody can do it but you. And this is exactly what they're doing right now.
Don Miguel, you wrote, "The best way to say thank you, God, is by letting go of the past and living in the present moment. Whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past, you allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment. Letting go of the past means you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now." I wrote a blog this month about letting go and surrendering, and I was amazed at how many people commented about having trouble doing just this. Are there any strategies that you can offer to teach us to learn how to let go and surrender?
Well, we can say that when we learn to let go, we are surrendered to death. Because every moment that passes gone is death. But by letting go, what we really master is life. Because we no longer see the past. The past is just a point of reference. And we use it in order to take the actions today, to make the decisions that we make right now. And this is how we really master life, by letting go of death. The death always exists, it's always there, and it's not necessarily leaving your physical body, which is also death, of course. But when you end a relationship, it's a way of death. When you end business, when you get out of the school, let's say you leave high school, you never will see these people again anymore, at least not in that school. Then everything is in that way. If we keep the past in this moment, we never will live life. We live in the past. Then it's so important to let go and not to carry the past with us.
The book is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you'd like to get more information, you can visit his website, miguelruiz.com. Don Miguel, it was such a pleasure having you on the show today. As I told you before the interview, I really felt like this book was written for me, and I have thoroughly enjoyed having the opportunity to talk to you about the wisdom that you shared. So thank you so much again for being here with us.
But you're very welcome, and give all of my love to whoever is listening to you.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, take part in the book club, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.